Part 4. The Feast of Ashes. Leonard chose their anniversary, 12 years together, a milestone Julia would never forget, a date their friends and family marked with cards, flowers, and messages of congratulations. It was perfect. On that day, Julia would expect affection, celebration, perhaps even forgiveness for the long hours she pretended to spend at work. On that day, her defenses would be at their weakest. The plan began with invitations. Leonard sent them from Julia's own email, a digital sleight of hand. Her closest friends, her parents, colleagues from her firm. Even a handful of Leonard's co-workers received a polite message. Leonard and I are celebrating our anniversary and would love for you to join us at the Caraway Hotel banquet hall. Drinks and dinner provided. A night of gratitude for 12 wonderful years. Julia knew nothing, of course. When she opened her laptop days later, the sent folder was curiously empty. Leonard had deleted the evidence, but the guests marked their calendars. Marcus, too, received an invitation. But his email was tailored differently. Darling, I want you with me on the night of our anniversary. You mean more to me than he ever will. Come to the Caraway banquet hall. I'll make it public. Was no more secrets, Jay. Leonard crafted it in Julia's tone, borrowed from her real messages. He knew Marcus's ego would never resist the promise of exposure cloaked as devotion. The stage was set. On the night itself, Julia dressed carefully, slipping into a navy silk dress Leonard had once complimented. She looked radiant, the kind of woman who still turned heads in her late 30s. She seemed nervous, though she tried to mask it. Dinner reservations? She asked, brushing a curl from her face. Something like that, Leonard said smoothly, offering his arm. They arrived at the Caraway, its chandeliers glowing like molten gold. Julia's brows knit when she saw the hall, filled with faces. Her friends, family, colleagues, all gathered, laughing, sipping wine. The banner stretched across the far wall. Happy 12th anniversary, Leonard and Julia. She froze. What is this? Leonard kissed her cheek, smiling for the room. A surprise. Applause rippled as they entered. Julia's parents hugged her warmly. Friends raised glasses. Julia forced a smile, her confusion simmering beneath the surface. Leonard guided her to the head table, where the microphone awaited. He let her bask in the greetings, watched her cheeks flush with a cocktail of pride and dread. He could almost hear the gears turning in her head. Why did no one tell me? How did this happen? And then the doors opened. Marcus strode in, smug, confident, dressed in a tailored suit. He carried no gift, only that self-satisfied grin of a man who thought he was about to claim victory. His eyes searched the hall until they landed on Julia. He raised a hand in greeting. The silence that followed was palpable. Guests turned, murmurs sparking like fire through dry grass. Julia's face drained of color. Marcus, she whispered, horror threading her voice. Leonard rose, microphone in hand. His voice was steady, measured, almost professorial. Ladies and gentlemen, he began. Thank you all for coming tonight to celebrate 12 years of marriage, 12 years of trust, 12 years of fidelity. Or so I believed. The room quieted, all eyes fixed on him. Leonard's smile was thin, surgical. But history, as I often tell my students, is not written by trust. It is written by betrayal. And tonight, you will see history repeating itself in my own home. Gasps fluttered as he gestured to the screen behind him. The projector whirred to life. One by one, images appeared. Screenshots of Julia's texts with Marcus, hotel receipts, emails dripping with promises. Julia's laughter with Marcus at the bar, captured discreetly by Leonard's patient surveillance. Evidence undeniable, brutal in its precision. Julia staggered to her feet. Leonard, stop this. But the avalanche had begun. The guests gaped, whispers hissing through the room. Her mother covered her mouth, eyes wide with shame. Her friends looked away, unwilling to meet her gaze. Marcus, for the first time, faltered. His grin slipped as the evidence shifted from stolen kisses to his own financial misdeeds. Fraudulent expense reports, double-billed clients, emails hinting at manipulation. Leonard had dug deep, and now Marcus's carefully polished career glittered with cracks. This, Leonard said, his voice rising just enough to cut through the chaos, is the truth they hid. Julia Hale, my wife of 12 years, and Marcus Devlin, a parasite feeding on whatever scraps of dignity he could scavenge. Together they built their castle of lies. Tonight we burn it down. Julia lunged for the laptop, but Leonard snapped it shut, eyes locked on hers. The room buzzed with judgment, shock, disgust. Leonard, please, she began, tears streaking her makeup. He leaned close enough for only her to hear. This is what betrayal costs. Then he straightened, addressing the room. Enjoy the feast, everyone. Consider it a banquet of ashes. He dropped the microphone. The echo thundered through the hall. And with that, Leonard walked out, leaving Julia amid the rubble of her reputation, Marcus amid the ruins of his career, and the guests drowning in silence thick enough to choke. For Leonard, the fortress had fallen. But it was not his collapse. It was theirs.